On today's show,
we've got Nurkic fever, and the only prescription is to count down some of the best revenge games in NBA history.
In Crossfire, we debate the comeback story of the season and our favorite under-the-radar players to watch.
And hey, congrats to Joe House. The Wizards clinched their first division title since 1979.
It's Wednesday, March 29th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live on NBA TV, or a little bit later on YouTube, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, it's Tess Millis.
Texas is hot.
To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friendly.
And last, certainly not least. Over there, it's the bearded one, it's Trey Kirby.
Hey, yo!
TK, what do you got?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And guys, the Washington Wizards have already reserved their spot in the postseason. And that's why the team announced today that they are going to be wearing their Stars and Stripes jersey for all of their home playoff games this season. This is great for a couple of reasons. One, these are my favorite Wizards uniforms.
Yeah.
And two, it gives us a chance to talk about weird playoff traditions. Which brings us to today's question. What's your favorite playoff tradition? Personally, I like it when a team decides that they're all going to shave their heads for unity. And in particular, I liked it when the 1998 Indiana Pacers shaved their heads for unity because they had a lot of bad heads on this team. Or as Bill Wennington said about his former college teammate, Chris Mullin, he looks really good in a hat. But we want to hear from you, so let us know on Twitter. What's your favorite playoff tradition? Send us your best tweets to #TheStarters, and we'll hear from you a little bit later.
All right, get your tweets in. Fun show tonight. Tass and I will go head-to-head in a new edition of Crossfire, and we're actually going to count down some of our favorite revenge games in NBA history. But we start with a little Is This News? Trey has rounded up some of the juicier NBA headlines. He's going to pitch them to us, and the three of us will determine whether or not they're actually newsworthy. Trey, first headline.
All right, our first headline comes from the Denver Post, and it reads, Jusuf Nurkic dominant against old team as Blazers deal crippling blow to Nuggets playoff hopes. Is this news?
Of course it's news, but it could be a little bit more definitive. The Nuggets don't have a hope. I mean, that's it. It's not a blow. It's over. It's over. And the way they're sort of imploding and they're talking amongst themselves that we don't know where we're going. There's no chance that they can do anything with their 6 road games left on their 8-game schedule. It's just not going to happen. But Jusuf Nurkic, it's fun to have the big lug starting because he is just a great personality in this league, and it's fun for us who talk about this sport every day.
The Blazers, as we see now, a game up, but they also get the tiebreaker now.
So
that's the huge.
2, yeah.
So it's basically 2. That's right,
Yeah.
Lee. The Nuggets got to get 2 up on them, and the Blazers have a good home schedule. You said it already, Tass. The Nuggets are going to be on the road a whole lot.
6 of 8 at home versus 6 of 8 on the road.
I'll tell you what, though, Nurkic gave the Denver Nuggets some pretty big bulletin board material by saying, have a good summer holiday. So if you're Mike Malone, you're probably saying to your team right now, listen, we can get revenge on this guy if we make it back into the playoffs. I know it's very, very unlikely, but if you're Mike Malone, at least you've got something for the guys to at least galvanise them and to have them fight the way the rest of the season.
I mean, Nurkic outplayed Jokic last night.
For sure.
He just wanted it. It felt like he really did. I know it's cliche. He wanted that game more because of the situation where he's traded from the Nuggets. They don't want him there. He's complaining about his minutes. I'm behind Jokic. Yeah, you tried me and I started and we tried to play together. It didn't work, so you shipped me out for Plumlee. He sent a message with the 12 of 15 shooting, 6 offensive rebounds alone. That's huge. Those were some amazing numbers that he puts on his old team there, and and then he talks the trash. He talks some trash, but he backed it up during last night's game. That's what's a huge part.
Yeah, and that's why he's a great character for this league.
Yeah.
And I wonder on the other side with Mike Malone, this team is in a bit of disarray, and I don't see how they galvanized these last 8 games, but how they look moving forward is going to be a huge question because there's a lot of vets. A lot of young guys, and Will Barton was very vocal. Kenneth Faried was very vocal after the game.
Yeah.
They're kind of confused, I suppose, with the rotation and the minutes, how they're distributed. Mike Malone and the management there have some serious questions to answer.
And they've kind of blown this too, because the Nuggets were in a very comfortable position that they should have been able to maintain that lead over the Blazers in the 8th spot, but they've kind of given it up, especially over this last little stretch where they have played really badly, haven't been able to win games where they should have been able to, and now they find themselves on the outside looking in. It's a pretty bad fall apart.
They traded a talented guy to one of the teams they were battling for that 8th spot. And the Blazers
gave
have
a
been
first-round
great.
pick as
And
well.
they threw a first-round
Yeah.
pick in, as we talked about when that happened. Look, it wasn't just Nurkic, though. I want to quickly show a little love to C.J. McCollum, who was huge in this game. There wasn't a whole lot of defense, to be completely honest, played in this game, both between the Blazers and Nuggets. The Blazers in the third quarter decided to play a little D, and that's when it changed. But C.J. with 39 points on 15 of 24 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep, perfect at the line. He gave credit to his great game to a fantastic pregame nap. He was a big fan of the nap, and he said when he woke up at 3:15, he knew no one was going to be able to guard him that night. So it must have been an unbelievable nap.
He was most improved last year. He's gotten even better this year. His numbers, his percentages are up across the board. He's been great for the Blazers.
All right, Trey, next headline.
Our next headline comes from Yahoo's Ball Don't Lie, and it says Hassan Whiteside might have just saved the Heat's season and ended the Pistons. Is this news?
Is this similar to the situation between the Blazers and the Nuggets, where we say the Blazers look like they're in and the Nuggets aren't? Is the same thing here with the Heat look like they're in and the Pistons you can say goodbye?
The Pistons definitely say goodbye to them. They've lost 5 straight. They looked awful. Stan Van Gundy's owned it. But full credit to Miami Heat and especially Hassan Whiteside. Since he's had the 13 stitches in his hand, hasn't missed a game, been putting up incredible numbers, and then he was on the button there last night with his offhand to tip that in. I mean, this is... Eric Spoelstra has been talking about this, like this team is not tanking. They never considered tanking. They just fight together. And this is the type of scrappy win that they deserve, given how they were 11-30 at one stage, and now they're right back in the playoff hunt, and it's theirs to lose.
I thought the Eric Spoelstra quote after the game was really, really interesting. He said about Hassan Whiteside, he is maybe for the first time in his career playing for the guys next to him than he is for himself.
Right.
It's really, really interesting. And you got to remember that Hassan Whiteside is a fairly young NBA player. It's easy to remember, all these blocks and everything he's done, but he's only been a full-time NBA player for 2+ years, really. January in 2015. He couldn't find his way, played in D-League, played for 2 teams in Lebanon, 2 teams in China. And now he's a member of the Miami Heat. These are the Miami Heat players and style that we know and love. Guys who just fight and scrap for each other. And this team is not going anywhere. And that's why they make for a great first-round watch in the Eastern Conference playoffs, because they share the ball and they play hard for each other.
I was going to say, outside of whatever your favorite team is, I'd imagine a lot of people are rooting for a team like the Heat to just get into the playoffs, because it'll make things a little more interesting. Are they going to run all the way to the championship? No, but they're going to put up a fight, because that game last night, they were down 4. Ish Smith hit a jumper. It was 96-92, 30 seconds to go. I mean, most NBA games, it's over. But, Dragic hits a little floater. Then they forced a jump ball. Then they got the turnover. And then, James Johnson misses a jumper.
Woo.
But
Whiteside
didn't miss the dunk. No, but Johnson had missed a jumper. Whiteside kept the ball alive. He just out-tipped Drummond. That went to Dragic. He throws it up, and then Whiteside again. I mean, that's just hustle. They just out-hustled him late.
And that's what I'm saying with his hand. He's not up there with that hand. He's basically going up one-handed a lot of the time to do this. So it just shows that he is sacrificing for his team and showing, even though I'm injured, I'm out there playing as best I can.
You mentioned C.J. McCollum, most improved player. We just saw James Johnson. MIP possibly. I mean, he's not going to win it.
But in the conversation.
It's pretty cool to see him transform. Most improved player, most improved body.
I was going to say transform. He looks like a different person. I mean, he's lost, 20, 25 pounds? He said something like that?
Apparently. The new MIB. Most improved bod.
We'll hand that out. All right, final headline.
That was crazy seeing James Johnson just pick up Hassan Whiteside like it was no big deal. He's a giant. Our final headline comes from the Washington Post, and it says, the Wizards just won their first division title in 38 damn years. Is this news?
To Dan Steinberg for that headline. This is not news. I'm excited for them. Joe House, big fan. But who cares? It's a division banner. It's great you snap that streak, but
they're going to hang one, right? That's always the best, when you win a division and then you hang a division.
As Raptors fans, we know that Atlantic division going up there was huge.
The Raptors have Tim Hortons number retired. That's a Toronto Maple Leaf, former Toronto. It's a real man. Former Toronto Maple Leaf.
Makes great coffee. Great coffee.
Great.
They have the inaugural season banner up there as well.
Inaugural season banner, division banner. That's about it.
But they haven't won 50 games either, which is interesting in that whole span. They've come close a couple of times, but that's their next goal. That's sort of that
That's
mark.
exactly what Bradley Beal is on record as saying.
That's their milestone. But I mean, remember, 2 years ago, we talk about this a lot. They were a John Wall broken hand away from maybe making the conference finals. So a little division banner really isn't that significant when they're a very good team playing incredibly well. Scott Brooks has turned this team around. They would absolutely feel that the conference finals are within reach for them this season.
That's exactly right. This will mean absolutely nothing if it doesn't already, if they don't go a couple playoff series here, because they have some expectations with obviously one of the most talented backcourts in the league and good players in Porter and Gortat and obviously a new coach there. They are no longer the record holder, though, in the 4 North American sports of the longest division drought. That now moves to the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, congratulations.
Who, by the way, I mean, I'm not a huge hockey fan, but are apparently in the running for their division this year as well.
Yeah, only 2 points behind.
So maybe it goes to the Browns.
Congratulations to Stephen A on that
We'll
one.
see. All right, when we come back, Tass and I get the Starties started early by debating who should win Comeback Player of the Year. Don't go anywhere. Crossfire up next.
The old Smythe division. Crossfire, this is how it works. Trey will give Keats and me 3 topics. We'll debate each one. At the end of it all, Trey will declare a winner. Trey, our first topic.
Round 1 coming right up. Our old pal Zach Lowe dropped his 5th annual Marc Gasol All-Stars over at ESPN today. If you're not familiar, it's a 12-man team of Zach's favorite non-superstars to watch. So guys, who's your sneaky favorite player to watch? Here we go.
I'm usually an offensive guy. I like the triple-doubles, your 50-point scores, your game-winning shots, all that. But my sneaky favorite player to watch is Raptors forward PJ Tucker. For defense, this guy is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Just watch the guy play prevent defense at times during games. He just tires you out watching him prevent the usually best player on the other team from even getting the ball. He's helped turn the Raptors into one of the better defending teams since the All-Star break, obviously with Serge Ibaka as well. But give me PJ Tucker. Love to watch him.
Love me some PJ. He's
Yep.
tough, and that's why I'm picking Goran Dragic. Number 1, the guy is nails. He's a skinny guard, but he has lost 5 teeth in his basketball career, broken his nose, and he comes back every single time. He plays through it. And also, he's just crafty around the basket. He's had 19 30-point games in his career. He's scoring more this year because Dwayne Wade is gone, and extra points because he's left-handed.
Ooh, that's
the
a
guy
good call.
does it all. He does a lot. I like watching him play.
I love the lefty ad. Good call.
Definitely helps, definitely helps. Round 2 coming right up. We've seen a lot of big numbers this season, from a record number of triple-doubles to a new single-game record for three-pointers made. So guys, grab your calculators and tell me, what's your favorite stat of the season? Here we go.
I love the evolution of basketball. That's why James Harden scoring 2,000 points and assisting on 2,000 points is my favorite stat. We're watching a different type of point guard in this game. The evolution of the scoring point guard. I also love problem solving. The Houston Rockets problem is, how do we get the easiest shot for the highest value? Well, we give the ball to our guy who passes a lot, we get him in the lane, and he just fires to the corners. He has sort of perfected this get into the lane and just chuck it the opposite way, look the opposite way. It's a beautiful thing, and good point guards now do it. Evolving, problem solving. That's why I love
like
that
it.
stat.
My favorite stat of the season is learning that the Bulls haven't lost a Thursday home game on TNT since 2013. They've won 19 straight Thursday TNT regular season home games. That's bonkers. And we've seen some crazy games too, like Noah went for 20 and 10 once. We had an Antoine Moore game winner. Jimmy Butler got fouled by a ghost recently. I mean, it's wild that a team not all that amazing has somehow reeled off 19 when usually Marv's in the building. It's just really weird.
Strange.
Very weird. Final round, round 3. The 4th annual Starties Award Show is in a couple of weeks. On April 14th, we'll be handing out all kinds of awards, from MVP all the way to Best Wedgie. So to kick off award season, let's give out an old school league award. Who's your comeback player of the year? Here we go.
Give me Eric Gordon in Houston. The first 3 seasons of his career as a Los Angeles Clipper, he was beautiful. He ended his 3rd year with 22 points a game. I thought him and Blake would be the future.
Right.
For some reason, things kind of went downhill in New Orleans, and then it just didn't work out. Back to Houston, though, he's fantastic. And this could be his 6th Man of the Year award to win. Lou Williams may have come to Houston and stole it from
snatched it
him,
from him.
but he has somehow regained that confidence. He's back. I love watching Eric Gordon play. Eric Gordon versus James Harden was once a conversation. Who's a better basketball player?
Crazy.
I took Eric Gordon.
I think for my comeback player of the year, I can't believe this guy came back, is the way I'm tackling it, and that is Chris Middleton with the Bucks. He tore the hamstring from his left thigh completely off his bone in a pickup game back in September. We thought he might be out for the year. He comes back February 8th, and he's been instrumental in helping the Bucks get back into the playoffs. 16, 4 and 3, hitting 41% from 3. It's just wild that this guy even came back. So I'll go with Chris Middleton.
Today's winner is J.E.
Wow!
Skeets, because that Bulls streak goes to 20 tomorrow.
Ooh, Cavs against the Bulls on TNT. We will see how real that streak is.
He should win.
Yeah, good call. All right, gotta take a break. When we come back, we'll count down some of the best revenge games in NBA history. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Starters. We asked you earlier in the show, what's your favorite playoff tradition? You hit us up on Twitter, #thestarters. TK, you got a few best answers.
Yeah, I got a few good answers. This one comes from Philip Drost, who says it's got to be Masai Ujiri saying something offensive about whoever the Raptors play. That always gets me pumped. What a classic tradition. JM1886 says average players gaining unexpected rises in fame because of a few good games, aka doing a Dellavedova. Back in my day, we called that pulling a Scott Williams. And finally, Vino says in the early 2000s, black socks and black shoes. Always cool.
Good stuff. Keep those tweets coming. All right, as we discussed earlier in the show, Jusuf Nurkic, he got some sweet revenge last night against his former team. In his first game against the Nuggets since being traded, career high 33 points, 16 boards, helped the Blazers get a huge win against a team they're challenging or trying to keep at bay for the 8th seed. So, inspired by that performance, we have decided to count down some of our favorite revenge games in NBA history. And that's a good one.
Number 5, Mike D'Antoni's Suns were part of the Gilbert Arenas Revenge Tour in 2006. Gil said he was going to score 100 points in 2 games combined against Nate McMillan and Mike D'Antoni because they wronged him as assistant coaches of USA Basketball. Against the Suns, well, Gil scored 54 and the game winner!
Great job.
Awesome for a couple of years there,
Yeah.
Gil.
In those ugly jerseys. Maybe
Yeah.
Mike's mad about those jerseys because they were nasty.
Number 4 of our countdown of revenge games, we all remember, 2010, LeBron taking his talents to South Beach. Cavs fans weren't happy. Yeah.
They've forgiven him, actually.
Yeah, they have.
Got
But
over it somehow.
in his first game back in Cleveland,
Carlos Arroyo.
you know, he did the chalk toss and then he posted a pretty cool line of 35 points, 5 and 8, as the Heat won by 28 points against Jamario Moon and the Cavs.
And then the Cavs gone like a 28-game losing streak, I think, from that night.
Something like that.
Good start.
At number 3, no.
Look away, guys. How did this one
How
get in
dare
here?
you!
Vince Carter, 2006, the season after he was traded from the Raptors. Well, he came back and put 42 on the Raptors. We saw a game winner from Gil. This is even worse. A game winner from Vince, way out. Way out.
He owned the Raptors.
And he
there.
celebrated. How dare he?
Oh boy, that still hurts. Number 2, 96-97 season, Michael Jordan. He took offense to Knicks head coach Jeff Van Gundy calling him a con man, and so he responded to the challenge the only way Jordan knows how. He scored 51 points. 51 points in an 88-87 victory over the Knicks. Now, before the matchup, as I said, Van Gundy had said Jordan tried to con fellow NBA players into thinking he's their friend, when actually he just goes out and kills them.
Jeff.
And there is, I love that clip,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
Jordan passing Van Gundy, saying a few words. See ya.
Oh, yeah.
See ya, Megamind.
At number 1, prior to Game 1 of the 95 Western Conference Final, David Robinson received the MVP award in front of his hometown fans and the man who received the award the previous season, Akeem Olajuwon. And the Dream got angry.
Oh, yeah.
Robinson went 1 for 11 the first 3 quarters. He finished with 21, but Olajuwon had 27, 8, 6, and 5 blocks.
Woo, the Dream, baby. Shake 'em.
Oh,
Shake 'em.
yeah.
Houston stole home court and eventually won that series. What a game.
There it is. I'm sure we're forgetting some, so let us know on Twitter. #thestarters, some of your favorite revenge games. But when we come back, Lily hits us with the VSP. Don't go anywhere. This news is going to blow you away, guys. Get it? According to ESPN, free agent swingman Lance Stevenson has reached an agreement to return to the Indiana Pacers on a 3-year, $12 million deal. Lance spent the first 4 years of his career in Indy, easily the most productive years of his career. Had stints with the Clips, Grizz, Pelicans, and Wolves, but he's back with the Pacers. Good on you, Lance. All right, last night's pick'em results. It was the Warriors-Rockets game. Trey and I picked up a game.
Yeah, buddy.
Took the dubs. Lee and Tass with the L. Whoa, Lee, you gotta hurry up here, man.
No, he can't.
He can't.
Math. He's done.
He can tie you.
He's done for
He
mine.
could tie you, man.
Wednesday, Thursday,
He's 3
Friday.
back from you.
It's not going to happen.
April 5th, guys. Wednesday, April 5th will be the next pick and payoff. It's very likely going to be Lee, unless he can somehow tie Tastier. We'll find out. But we'll have something weird in store for Lee.
Have to wear those shoes.
Yeah, well, maybe. All right, so tonight's game, it's key. It's Warriors at Spurs, big game on ESPN. Trey and Tass have the Spurs at home. Lee and I have the Warriors. Lee really needs the Warriors to win that.
That's pretty good to have the Warriors
Yeah,
as
that's
your
fine.
must-have win. Tonight's very solid play. Dedicating this to friend of the show, Kelly Dwyer. Told me
Okay.
it's his favourite segment on the show. So this one's a special one. It's Yusuf Nurkic with a beautiful feed to Mo Harkless. That's what I call a very solid play.
Nice.
Plays used to be more solid. That's what Kelly said. That's all he said. Some bittersweet news here, guys. We have a wedgie. That's the sweet part.
That's great.
That's the sweet
No,
part.
fun.
Bitter about that.
We
bitter part.
hadn't had one since March 11th.
Yeah, that's the bitter part. That's 16 nights of NBA basketball without a wedgie until this one. We've only got 50 nights of basketball left in the season, guys.
Wow.
And we're only at 42. How are we going to get to 50?
They come in bunches.
We're also including the playoffs, and you're right. Maybe they come in a little clump here,
Yeah.
but our projected total, including the playoffs, is 49.8461275.
Well, if you round up, that's 50.
You never
That's
want to
right.
find a clump when you're doing a wedgie. Tonight's NBA TV game. Tonight's NBA TV game. It's the Thunder and the Magic. 7 p.m. Eastern coverage starting very soon at 6:30 here on the network. So enjoy that. I think we have some time for some fan signs, Lee. Yeah.
Source out in Boston. It was his very first NBA game, and he took a sign. I love
Source
that.
or sauce?
Sauce, as in tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce.
What are you, Chris Broussard?
Sauce. 10-year-old starters mega fan Carter at the Grizzlies and Warriors
nice.
game over the weekend.
Sauce.
Cotter? Welcome back, Cotter or Carter?
And Marcus took a fan sign, not to a game, but to his high school graduation.
Let's give it up for Marcus.
In,
Let's give it up for Marcus.
Shout out to Jocelyn.
Lismore in Australia. Fantastic. He says, when are you guys coming out to Australia? Great question. When are we going?
Yeah.
And Drew Reeves kids with a sign that's one for you and me here, Skeetsy.
Yep.
The caption has Lee saying Kathmandu and Skeet saying,
I'm saying that because I don't like the sign.
No, because every
Just
time I
because
say
you do the
Kathmandu,
Kathmandu?
yeah, you love
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Coming up after us, 10 before tip live from San Antonio, where I've heard it's hot.
It's quite.
It's hot in Texas. All right.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, Jared Greenberg is still on the road. What an animal! How does he do it?
Beast. Embrace the night, people.